Hi guys, welcome to Office Blokes React. I am Office Bloke Dave.
I'm Office Bloke Mike.
Collectively we're two of the Office Blokes.
Yep.
The only two remaining Office Blokes that are fit and healthy.
Yep. Only two left.
Yeah, I'm super fit personally.
Yeah, not too bad. Myself, really? Yeah, at the moment. Yeah. Touch wood, of course. Let's not tempt fate now, shall we?
Office Bloke Daz, we sent him as a representative of the Office Blokes to North Korea to try and branch out for potential sponsorship opportunities, and to also get a different haircut.
Yeah.
And it just didn't come back.
Maybe he's not keen on the King Jong-il sort of look.
No, I think there's like one haircut, isn't there, for men in North Korea?
Yeah.
Isn't it? You have to have that haircut.
Yeah. It's the law.
Yeah, it's the law. I think it is. No, Office Bloke Daz has gone and got COVID, which is not interesting anymore 3 years into a pandemic. It's just, all right, okay. But yeah, he's just having a couple of days where he's going to recover and not be sat all up in our business.
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
Coughing all over us.
Yeah.
Right then, what North Korea doesn't want you to see? This is from
Most
Vice.
things, I think, I would guess. I mean, really, really secretive, aren't they?
Oh, yeah. There's a woman doing the sort of podcast rounds at the moment called Yeonmi Park, and she fled. She was sold into slavery, essentially.
Yeah, wow.
She managed to get across the border, and then I think it's like she becomes a slave in China, and then managed to get freed. But I think she was about 13, and I think she's maybe 24 now. And
Yeah.
She managed to get citizenship to America, go to college or university in America, and now has a kid. And like she's quite outspoken and quite politically motivated nowadays.
Yeah, right,
you know,
okay.
and obviously goes on the podcast and tells her story and stuff.
Yeah.
Absolutely harrowing.
I bet it is.
It is like
Yeah,
it
I
is
can imagine.
really just. It's bad.
Yeah.
It's bad, and it's a lot of stuff that I didn't know. It's like a rare insight into North Korea. But some of the stories she's telling are like, you know, the rats are eating like kids that are no longer with us, and then everyone's killing the rats to eat the rats, and like,
Jeez.
yeah,
That sounds proper grim.
I mean,
Yeah,
you'd
pretty
have to,
bad.
if you're interested in that sort of thing. She's done loads of stuff on YouTube. People should check her out
Yeah.
anyway. Crazy story, but yeah. Let's check this out. This is from Vice. What North Korea doesn't want you to see.
Yeah.
The most secretive nation on the planet.
A glimpse inside this infamously secretive country.
I've created the most comprehensive map of North Korea available to the general public. A lot of this is information they would not like to be out in the public. I've centralized it into one place where you can learn anything of their ballistic missile bases, where all the tunnels are, where the palaces are.
Wow.
The man who inherited the North Korean throne from his father and his grandfather before him.
The Kims rule over a police state that relies on heavy surveillance.
These are intelligent people that have managed to control a country for 3 generations, and they are ruthless.
Well, a U.S. official warns that North Korea could conduct another nuclear test that...
What Yeonmi Park was saying is that North Korea were building the nukes for Russia during the Cold War.
Oh, right.
So that's where North Korea have got the technology, and they
Yeah.
absolutely do have the technology to build viable nukes.
Right, okay. So I always thought it was a bit of a debatable point as to whether they did have the technology for a long time, I think, wasn't it?
They were
You
building
weren't
them.
too sure, but
Building them for the USSR,
Yeah.
allegedly.
wow.
Yeah, it's mad. And also, apparently, it's Kim Jong-il in it now. Kim
Yeah.
Jong-un. Kim Jong-il. Which one did they just show there, the current leader? I think it's Kim Jong-il.
I think it is, yeah.
Anyway, regardless, apparently women who go into work in his sort of palaces and stuff, you get split into 2 categories, and one of them's like ladies of the night to pleasure him,
Yeah.
and then the others I think are like the cooks and cleaners and all that sort of stuff. But apparently he's an absolute pest. Like
You can sort of imagine, can't you, really?
Yeah,
Yeah.
creepy guy.
Yeah, he is just a bit.
Absolute power though, isn't
Then
it?
well, he's running a country like that, you know. It's yeah,
Any
frightening.
time.
They don't care about human rights. They tend to be portrayed as caricatures, but they're not. You know, to have been able to hold on to power, and they're not going to let that go. Some guy in Florida just put that all out there for the public to see. I don't imagine they enjoy it. My name is Jacob Bogle, and I'm a North Korea analyst. I estimate that I've spent over 7,000 hours mapping and writing about my finds. I've always had an interest for maps, for geography, and so when Google Earth came out, I started playing around on there, and I found that a number of other people had been marking places, especially military places in North Korea, but there were a lot of holes in the data. And so I thought I would take a summer to fill in the missing pieces and have a complete map of the country. It was not so simple, and it has taken a decade. 64,400 places that I've now mapped and verified.
Wow, that's a lot.
Yeah.
Been a busy lad.
I have a personal library with about 30,000 pages worth of material on every topic imaginable related to North Korea. This has nuclear sites, underground sites, archaeological sites. I think we do a disservice when we hide things behind walls.
Military tensions on the Korean Peninsula have recently been boiling.
Successfully testing its first intercontinental ballistic missile, capable of hitting the U.S.
This is exactly the kind of missile the U.S. knew the North Koreans were working on, but we never expected it to be launched this soon.
North Korea's nuclear program goes back pretty much to the beginning of the country.
U.S. intelligence sources indicated the North was trying to produce highly enriched uranium. It is a required ingredient in the most powerful, compact nuclear weapons.
In the town of Pyeongsan, they have one of these uranium milling plants. And what they do is there's a coal mine. Coal actually has uranium in it, and so they take the coal as the uranium ore and process it. In that process, they produce a lot of waste material, the leftover burnt coal, a lot of toxic chemicals.
So this is the Pyeongsan uranium mill, this is the factory, and this is where all the sludge and stuff gets dumped. Material is brought in through this pipeline, through this pipe that runs across the river. You see this splotch right here, this dark color area. And this is March 2019. We have it, and then we can see it spilling into the river itself right here.
It was picked up by South Korean media.
북한이 우라늄 폐기물을 강으로 유출시키고 있다는 아주 안 좋은 소식입니다. 미국의 한 전문가가 위성 사진을 분석했는데요. 예성강을 따라서 우리 연평도하고 강화도 근해까지 오염됐을 가능성을 제시하고 있습니다.
I started going back through the historic imagery and noticed that this isn't just, bare dirt or something. This is a leak, and it's leaking directly into a river that provides water for agriculture and drinking water for thousands of people in North Korea, and then that flows into South Korean waters and eventually out into the Yellow Sea. In North Korea,
scary,
that's
terrible.
Important. The group is important. So you can have terrible working conditions, you can have toxic material flowing into drinking water, and they don't really care.
North Korea's conventional military forces, the tanks, troops, and artillery, are falling increasingly behind the capabilities of South Korea and the U.S. The North Soviet hardware is aging. Spare parts are becoming more difficult to secure.
They couldn't survive, they wouldn't win against a direct aerial combat. And so they've been taking small steps, but steps nonetheless, to increase survivability.
So this is Koksan Air Base. At the end of the runway, you have this nice little square right there. And in this case, it's just compacted sand. So 2014, it's not there. You see jets lined up, move forward in time. 2015, brand new, nice arrestor pad.
They've already installed arrestor pads at the end of runways. These are engineered materials that give way whenever an aircraft hits it, to slow the aircraft down, stop it, but to not damage the aircraft any further. So, small things, but potentially important things in a conflict.
So they're kind of upping the capabilities.
Certainly trying to, aren't they? I mean, I know obviously they've got missiles and things like that, but I mean, a lot of it is, for them, is like a defence mechanism, I guess, because they need to try and frighten the West into not attacking them, don't they? That's what they're trying. That's what they try and do.
Yeah,
put it out there that I've got nuclear weapons, we can fire them and stuff like that. I think a lot of it's, from their part, a lot of it's like propaganda, isn't it? Without
absolutely, yeah. But they're completely propped up by China.
Oh yeah, without China, they'd be a sitting duck, absolutely, completely.
Yeah.
But you just wonder how much China, particularly like having to prop them up as well. Especially the way the leader is and everything.
Yeah, there's a lot more there's a lot more to it that I was listening to in these podcasts, but I can't. I'd be butchering it if I started trying to rattle off, exactly what she was going on about with the relationship. I think one of the things was that North Korea is a buffer between the West and China.
Of course, it's absolutely massive. Yeah, because obviously you've got South Korea. US are friendly there. Probably got. I'm guessing they've got bases there in South Korea. And things
they do.
Like that.
Yeah.
So absolutely is a buffer. So I think that's probably in China's interest to keep it like that. So it just keeps that between them. I think if they go too far, North Korea, I think China is a type of country that will probably actually just reel them in a bit and say, listen, I think they have a big say in.
Yeah. They could cripple their economy overnight.
Of course, absolutely. They could stop them doing anything at a flick of a switch. China, I think the way it is. I think they just sometimes better the devil the people in charge as well. So I think they sort of let them get away with a few things. But I think China have got them on a bit of a leash, to be honest. From my point of view, I think they have anyway.
It's probably a good bargaining chip for China. If we're holding these nutcases back, imagine if we stopped.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah. And if they can keep North Korea out or stop them from expanding on the nuclear program, it's a few brownie points for China as well when it comes to negotiations for maybe trade, things like that. Absolutely massive bargaining chip for China, without a doubt.
It's a crazy place though, isn't it?
Yeah, it's just unpredictable.
Yeah.
North Korea was a creation of World War II. Japan had occupied the Korean Peninsula, and when the Allies defeated Japan, the Soviets and the Americans wanted to split territory, and so they drew just an arbitrary line across the Korean Peninsula and created a South Korea and a North Korea. A few years later, you had the Korean War, which is when North Korea tried to take over South Korea, and with their almost defeat, it became very important for them to classify just about everything. Even demographics are state secrets, so we don't have an accurate figure of the population of North Korea.
This family has kept a hold on this country for 70 years by propagating this myth that they are some kind of quasi-deities who have this divine right to rule.
North Korea's society is stratified. They have a class system despite technically not having a class system. And you do have this maybe 10, 15,000 people, top of the top elite. They almost all live in Pyongyang. Some of them live in mansions, others live in luxury apartments. But then you have the Kim family, who have a dozen or so mansions spread out throughout the country.
In this particular building right here, this is Kim Jong-un's this is where he actually lives. These two pyramids are actually, one is a dining hall and then one has a swimming pool inside. And so that's a pretty unique feature.
One thing that you can tell using satellite imagery about what's going on with the elite is when something gets built or when something gets demolished.
Dictator Kim Jong-un has executed 70 officials since coming to power in late 2011.
This is what Kim Jong-un is showing the people within North Korea. This is what he is telling to the elite.
These are the mansions that were demolished. Early 2011, they're still there, and then they're gone.
And that coincides with purges of top officials. Some were executed, some were sent to prison camps. I mean, North Korea is a country of 26 million people. They live their daily lives there. They're happy, they're sad, they get married, they die. They want a better life for their children. There have been a number of North Korean state-sponsored agents that have tried about half a dozen times to hack into my systems to get emails, databases, and so on. Yeah, cheap people are going to want to try to stop you. It's just, it is part of the job, and you just have to deal with it, really. In North Korea, there's always something new going on, and I think this is a project that's going to go on for a number of years to come.
So it's Kim Jong-un.
Was it?
Yeah, I think just said a few minutes ago. It's a hell of a country, isn't it? Really, it's so, like I say, so secretive, but then again, everything's mapped. This guy's mapped everything out, hasn't he? So I'm sure the US and other places with satellite imagery these days, they know about everything that they've got. The military US, hardware, and
you guarantee they know all of that already. Yeah, and they're just they've probably got rockets pointed at his house at any time, just like.
Oh, I'm sure it'd be well under surveillance, and there'd be high priority, I would guess, to keep an eye on him without a doubt.
How's that communism working out for him, though?
Well, that's the thing, yeah.
I think what happened was, I don't know if it's off the back of some sort of famine, but I think the government came in and said, let us have all of your land to all the farmers, and we'll make sure everyone gets 3 meals a day every day.
Yeah.
And no one will starve.
I know there's been famine over there before. I think a hell of a lot of people have died through it as well.
No one gets fed now. That's the thing.
Really?
Yeah, it's like people just starving to death.
It's like it's one of those countries where you think there'll never be an uprising because it's got such control, like an iron fist, with the amount of military and police and stuff like that.
Keep people hungry and scared, and then they're not going to do anything. Especially the hunger. You know, when people are crazy hungry.
Yeah.
You know, where's your energy to revolt?
But then again, you can only push people so far as well. As humans, people do revolt, don't they? But in a place like that, to say it's difficult would be an understatement.
It's so systemic there, isn't it?
I mean, it comes from a place like that. I mean, if there was a revolt or something, it'd come from the top, without a doubt. It'd come from some sort of hierarchy that think, we've had enough of this.
Yeah, but
they're all kept in clover, aren't they? They're all paid well. They've all got the apartments and things like that. So you think they'll be thinking, keep the status quo. I'm all right. So.
Didn't he also strap an official to a cannon and fire it?
I've not heard of that.
I think that might have been one of his family members. That was a high-ranking official, like an uncle or something, strapped into a cannon and just fired it with him strapped to the front.
Really?
Yeah, and it's like if you're watching stuff like that, you're going. Someone talks about having a coup, and you'd be a bit like,
not today.
Yeah. Brutal.
Absolutely. Well, brutal. That's the thing, ruled by with an iron fist and with fear, and that's what happens, isn't it? It happens in a lot of countries.
It's sad because, like everywhere on the world, it's just normal people trying to get on with their lives.
Most people just want to have a decent life and be happy, have families, and have a good time.
Yeah, it's bad.
Yeah, not great. Yeah, good video though.
Anyway, we hope Office Bloke Daz does make it back from North Korea at some point and doesn't get strapped to a cannon, or isn't currently strapping anyone to cannons.
Hey, well,
that's probably more
there's
like
that as well, I suppose, isn't there? But yeah. It's like cyclists or something.
yeah, it would be. Right, hope you guys enjoyed that as well. Don't forget to like and subscribe and all that good stuff, and we will see you again soon.
Cheers.